Good morning, all. How are we? Welcome. Who we got? TikTok. Let me get my camera positions right. TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. Good morning, all. Yes, it is. I always say this week where it falls, where I do my everything weight loss session early in the morning. Always feels and I don't do any of the lives on a Wednesday. Always feels like ages since I've done a live. It's been 2 days. That's all. But it's a long time. Yeah. Anyway, it's Thursday. Are we on the 14th? Thursday, the 14th of August. We are nearly halfway through August already. How are we all? And we enjoyed the weather the last couple of days. It's been nice, actually. Yeah, it's been all right. Yesterday was all right, wasn't it? It was hot, but it wasn't too humid up here. Though I was grafted I kind of took yesterday afternoon off. And I'm going to take another couple of hours off this afternoon because I'm sorting out the front of the house. Basically, I'm getting badgered by the wife to do it. So I'm like, right, I'll sort it while the weather's nice. Can't do it tomorrow. It's check-in day, and it's manic check-in day. And we're out over the weekend. So I did about 4 hours yesterday afternoon. And flipping it. I tell you one thing. You know what? When you do... Don't get me wrong. I say this was all I was doing, and I'm not saying it's not hard work. But yesterday, I started cutting. We have quite a big couple of I can't remember what the name of the hedge is, but quite a big hedge at the front of the house, two either side, at the entrance to the driveway. So I started cutting them. Done a load of de-weeding, chopped out. We've got one bit of the front of the house that's just overgrown with weeds. Chopped all that out, filled up my green bin, done a load of sweeping, jet washed down the side of the house sort of thing. Started on the main drive, was at it for about 3-4 hours. And, it makes you realise when a lot of people are like, oh, that person there can eat whatever they want and they aren't fat, basically. I'm like, if I did that 5 days a week for 8 hours, I did 4 hours yesterday, and I was knackered. Well, I wasn't knackered actually. I wasn't too bad, but I'd done my bit. I'd grafted, and I was like, and obviously your body adapts to what you do on a day-to-day basis. I don't do anything like that. I probably do that 2-3 times a year. But anyway, I had done 6,000 steps when I started. I'd done 14,000 when I'd finished. So I've done 8,000 steps just walking up and down, walking around, going to the bins, going here, going there, coming in my back utility room to get pruners and shit. And I need that, this, that, and the other. So I've done 7,000-8,000 steps in 4 hours, which isn't if I walked for 4 hours, I'd do 40,000. Well, I wouldn't do 4. I'd probably do 30,000 steps. But I've done 8,000 steps. Done loads of graft, sweated, and I'm like, if I was doing that 8 hours a day, Monday to Friday, it reminded me of when I was PTing. Probably more exerting than when I was PTing. And I'd be like, I could eat 30,000 calories a week if I did this as a living, 5 days a week. So yeah, it's all those people that you think are lucky that can eat whatever they want. They just eat in a calorie maintenance. Doesn't mean they're healthy. And they probably do jobs a bit like that. I always say that. It's very rare you see an overweight postie, right? It's very rare you'll see an overweight, in fact, there was a guy when I was doing my front, and I know Mark, he was doing my neighbour's garden. My neighbour's he's on the corner, he's got a corner plot. He's got a massive front garden, and he's in his 80s, bless him. So, and I was like, and Mark, that was doing his front garden, I was looking at him, not in a weird way. I was like, he hasn't got an ounce of fat on him. I'm like, no wonder if he does this job 5 days a week. No wonder. You could eat, say, 30,000 calories a week and you wouldn't gain weight. Anyway, there you go. That's my thing. If you've got a weight issue and you hate your current job, start up a gardening round. And I'll tell you one thing, you'll be packed, because round where I live, I'm not saying you live where I live, there's always people in the local village group. Does anyone know a gardener? Does anyone know a gardener? I had a word with Mark yesterday. I was like, mate, can you come and do me mum's? It's just a one-off job, but you can have a day's work, whatever you charge for a day's work. I need it all tidying up at the front. I need the driveway jet washing. just getting it ready for like, because there's quite a lot of moss on the driveway, getting it sort of safer for winter and just stuff like that. And he was like, yeah, no problem, couple £100. I was like, yeah, fine, come get it done. Be about 3 to 4 weeks. And don't get me wrong, I know this time of year gardeners should be packed, and I know it's a little bit like seasonal work in a way, because like obviously you're not mowing lawns in the middle of. I said that to him. I said, "What do you do in winter?" He said, "I do a lot of trees and a lot of dry, like jet washing, tree pruning back, head." And then it's just, and he said, the only thing that really stops is mowing lawns in winter. I was like, oh, fair enough. Anyway, there you go. Become a gardener, right? You'll be dead busy because no one can ever seem to find a reliable gardener, and you'll burn loads of calories. And it'll be a lot. The more calories you burn, the easier it is to stick to a calorie deficit. Imagine burning 30,000 calories a week, right? 30,000 calories a week. Yeah, that means you can eat 4,000 calories a day and still lose half a pound a week. 4,000 calories a day and still lose weight. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, but you can eat 3,000 calories a day. And 3,000 calories a day, and if it's a mix of fairly nutritionally dense food, right? If your 3,000 calories is, let's say you said each day, I'm going to eat 2,500 calories a day of nutritionally dense food, and 500 calories a day of chocolate and crisps, right? You'd have a really good balance of eating something that lights your life up, as well as being very, very healthy, and you'd lose nearly a stone a month if you burnt 30,000 calories a day, and you can still eat 3,000 calories a day. It's that's what I used to do as a personal trainer. I used to eat 3,000. I lost in 2019 2 stone, which I know is not loads, but I went in 2019. Well, I would say probably from September time 2018 to September time 2019. I remember I was going to Tenerife in August 2019, and I remember weighing myself before I went. That was the lightest I ever weighed. I think I was 16 and a half stone. So I was about 30 pounds. I was at like maybe maybe a bit, maybe not, maybe a stone and a half lighter than I am now. It's the lightest I've ever been. All right. And I wasn't even trying to lose weight. And from September 2018 to, let's say August 2019, I lost 2 stone. I ate 3,000 calories a day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's not banking. That's not about, I ate 3,000 a day. I used to take food like that. I used to take 500 calorie breakfast, an 800 calorie lunch, and an 800 calorie tea to the gym. Right, so that's like what 2,100 calories, and then I used to have 500 calories worth of protein shakes and probably 400 calories worth of protein bars. That was literally, I did that like 4 or 5 days a week. I used to eat 3,000 calories a day, and then at weekends, I guesstimated a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you, I guesstimated a lot. I literally was like, yeah, in the morning, right, what we're doing today, right, we're going to Miller and Carter for tea, calamari, steak and chips, that'd be it, right? And then maybe 2 pints, that'd be it. I'd go to Miller and Carter, I'd have calamari, I'd also eat Rachel's whatever she had left as a starter. Main course, I'd have steak, chips, ribs on the side and something else. Then we always got a McFlurry on the way home before we used to go to Miller and Carter all the time, before it got stupidly expensive. Then used to go and get a McFlurry on the way home. I'd have some crisps. I'd probably eat 5,000, 6,000 calories at the weekend, and I'd put it in my app and say 4,000 calories, and I still lost 2 stone. But that is one of the beauties of having a manual job or a job where you're very physical. You just burn a lot of calories, and you can eat. I couldn't eat anymore. I didn't want to eat anymore. Gavin, good morning, gang. I'm going to do top 5 on TikTok. I know I've been waffling for 8 minutes, but it gives you guys a bit of time to come in. Paul, good morning. TikTok is playing up, so I popped over here instead. Good morning. Welcome to YouTube, Paul. And Kevin's on YouTube as well. Right, let's do top 5 on TikTok. Carol, good morning. You're in at number 1. Lynn's in at number 2. Callum's in at number 3. Nikki's in at number 4, and Danielle is in at number 5. You are my top 5 this morning. Lisa's in on Facebook. Good morning, Lisa. Chip away. Good morning. Karen H. Morning, Lise. Good morning, Anna. Good morning, Kelly C. Lou. Morning. Karen H. Happy Karen here. My baby just got into his first choice unit. Oh, absolute congratulations. God, it's that time of year again. When like GCSE results, A-level results out, that's always like, when you get to that time, you're like, we're coming to the end. Everyone's getting ready back to school, back to college. And good morning, Neil. £1 down after a 2-week check-in. Definitely sticking to 2 weekly. Brilliant, Anna. That's great to hear. Amy, good morning. Tina, Donna. Very humid in Newcastle. Very humid up north. Anything going on? Gardening is tough. Really tough. Man alive, crying at my lack of calories in my deficit. One thing we have to understand with calories in your as long as you're doing this correctly. There's way to, a lady that come on yesterday, follows me for a long time, telling me she's doing a fantastic amount of movement, yet someone's told her to eat 1,700 calories a day. But what we do have to understand is, like, calorie deficits or your calorie allowance to lose weight, the calorie allowance you're sticking to put yourself into a calorie deficit, is relative to you. All right. So if you only burn so many calories, you only need so many calories. Now, something that we might struggle with a little bit is through weight loss, our calorie requirements change because we're lighter, or can change because we're lighter. Our appetite requirements don't change massively. They do a bit, but they don't change massively. So my want for food at 18 stone isn't massively different from my want for food at 37 stone. Right? I can still eat a lot of food. I still don't really have much of a shut-off switch. I've just taught myself self-control, which anyone can do if you want to do it, right? Anyone can do it if you want to do it, It's just part of the game. It's part of the challenge. And, when I eat an 800-calorie tea, and where a lot of people go wrong with eating is they think you should feel full after eating. You shouldn't. I get all these, well, that won't fill me up. You shouldn't feel full after eating. You should feel satisfied. You shouldn't be sat there going, I'm still absolutely Hank Marvin. It's not touched the sides. But you shouldn't be sat there going, oh, I'm stuffed. I couldn't eat another thing. I used to chase that feeling all the time. And if I didn't have that feeling after I'd eat, Blossom, no. I'm not even going to tell you what she's doing. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. What have you done with them? How have you got in? Too late. Bloody hell. Guys, we're back in 1 minute. 1 minute. I'll explain. Betty and Blossom are literally like a tag team. Betty, drags over the washing basket that's in the bedroom, and then Blossom likes to shred my flipping boxer shorts. Hugo Boss boxer shorts, 15 quid. Shredded. I'm too late. She's already had him. She just walked in here with him. Anyway, I just had to go and pick the washing basket up. I can't even tell you how much money she's cost me in boxers since we've had her. I'm not even going to. In fact, I don't even buy that is an old pair, so I'm not bothered. They were 15 quid, probably about 3 years ago. I don't even buy it. The only boxer shorts I buy now, and they're brilliant, by the way. Any men out there, this is a tip. This is what's going on here. I thought it was the Weight Loss Coaching Live. Asda George, their boxers are absolutely class, and you get like 3 pairs for a tenner, right? And they're amazing. They're a decent fitment, right? I'm a 38 inch waist, and I wear an XL pair of boxers, and they are absolutely class, right? because they are absolutely class, you know. So anyway, let's get back to appetite. You shouldn't feel full. We've been led to believe that we should, right? It's where, you know, I as a kid, yeah, I always call it Christmas dinner full. You know, we've been led to believe, and it's just, and don't get me wrong, it can be a hormonal thing. So we have a hormone called leptin, and leptin is the hormone that tells us we're full, right? But the actual you need to feel full feeling has been bred into us. It's like something that, you know, it probably passes back to, you know, the good old days where you did only eat 2 to 3 meals a day. I say the good old days, but and it was hearty food, and it was you know, spuds and veg and a bit of meat, you know, or there was always a loaf of bread on the table. You see a lot of carbs. Carbs are very they don't fill us up for long periods of time, but carbs fill us up in the moment, right? Protein does not fill us up in the moment, but it fills us up for long periods of time, right? So, and this is why you should eat a balanced meal. Your food should have, you know, your plate should have protein, carbs. If you want to have fat on there, that's entirely up to you. But you should have a mix of protein and carbs, right? Carbs are low calorie, very filling in the moment. Protein, as long as it's a lean protein, is low calorie and is filling over time. And if you combine the two together, right, you've got a bit of a match made in heaven. Yesterday, I was out and about. I did a little video on it, and I had 5 chicken selects. No, I didn't. That's McDonald's. 5 mini chicken fillets from KFC, and a tub of gravy, and that was my dinner. I wanted a load of, you know, I was looking at a rice bowl. The rice bowls at KFC were 100 calories more than they used to be, and they're not as good. So I was like, I don't know if I'm going to bother with that. They're not bad, but they're not as good as they used to be. And I was just like, you know, I'll just get some chicken. Let's have a little look. 5 mini fillets. I ate those 5 mini fillets, and I'd had enough because there was a lot of them, right? But I wasn't stuffed at the end of it. I wasn't full. I got some gravy, bit of extra volume for 70 calories. I wasn't full at the end of it. I didn't eat again until 6:30 last night. And that's all I ate yesterday. I had 5 mini fillets. So I didn't have any breakfast, missed breakfast, went and trained, had an energy drink before the gym, caffeine, appetite suppressant, had me 5 mini fillets. So that is all I had. I had 700 calories from waking up yesterday morning. I was in the office quite early, 6ish, I think, something like that, up until 6:30 at night. That's all I ate. And I was full. Because protein, it's slow digestion, it fills you up. There's a little bit of carb in there because of the coating, and some fat in there because of the gravy. So it was actually had a bit of everything in it, that meal. But it just ticked all the boxes. But yeah, it's we've got to learn that we shouldn't feel like, say, this. It's finding a balance, and it took me about 18 months to find that balance, to teach myself that balance. And we've just got to, and it can just be an understanding thing. So we do have this leptin hormone, the hormone that tells us we're full, right? It doesn't tell us we're full. It tells us we're satisfied. It says we've had enough. What tells us we're full? Like, oh, I couldn't eat another thing. It's because you've overeaten. As soon as you start to stretch your stomach, right, you feel your stomach, that's like, I've had too much, right? I did it last night. I ate really unhealthy yesterday, right? And I say I ate really unhealthy. I always say this, there's no such thing as unhealthy foods, just overall unhealthy diets. Well, yesterday was an overall unhealthy day. My overall diet this week will be very healthy. But yesterday, if you look at it, you know, I had KFC for lunch and I had a chippy tea. Didn't cook a thing yesterday. Right, my mum come round for tea, and I was like, I can't be bothered cooking. So I said to my mum, do you want chippy tea? Right, it was on Tuesday. And in my mind, I was going to go old school. I used to have a chippy tea most Wednesday nights, and I'd have a lightly battered large fish and some peas on the side. That was it. Yesterday, after doing that gardening, it did. I was like, sod it. I'm having what I want. And I just had fish, chips, and peas. And it was class, right? 1,200 calories. But I literally had, this was my eating yesterday, 5 mini fillets from KFC with a gravy, right? 5 mini fillets from KFC with a gravy, 700 calories. Fish, chips, and peas, 1,200 calories. Mint cornetto, 174 calories. That was my eat yesterday. 2,074 calories. That was it, right? nutritionally dense. I got a reasonable amount of protein in. There was 70 grams of protein in with lunch, 50 grams of protein in with tea, 120. It's not loads for me. I normally would like a little bit more, but it was what I got in. Fiber and protein and vitamins, minerals in mushy peas. Mushy peas are actually really good for us. Vitamin A in my spuds, but not much fiber because they're peeled. And there we go. Quite a bit of saturated fat. Yeah, deep fried chicken, deep fried fish and chips. But overall, my saturated fat levels this week, well, because I hardly had any Monday, hardly any Tuesday, I hardly have any today. Today's back to like normal eating. So there we go. But yeah, let me get back to that original point of appetite. Appetite doesn't massively change with weight loss. Our requirement of calories does, and that does kind of bring appetite down because there is an element of if I burn this much, I want this much energy. There is an element of that. So it does get a little bit better. So I can't eat as much as I did when I was 37 stone. But if I put my mind to it, I probably could every now and then. Overall, on a day-to-day basis, nowhere near. Monday this week, I think I had about 1,700 calories. There is no way I ever had a 1,700 calorie day. And I didn't feel hungry on Monday. Right, for 1,800 calories. There's no way that would have ever happened at 37 stone. But that's also an element of a lot of things. You know, the way I've controlled, learned to control myself, as it were. So yeah, so when I'm sat here sometimes talking about calories, even my current calorie allowance, 2,600 calories a day. Every single person watching this live now can eat a lot of calories for their weight, height, sex, age. Everyone can. You've just got to do one thing: have a good level of movement. And if you don't, and if you're not willing to have a good level of movement, now don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to trigger people here. I fully understand some people can't due to medical issues, disabilities, mobility issues, right? You're an exception to the rule. And, we can still work with that. Of course we can, right? But, most people, if you're fit, healthy, and the main reason you don't have a good level of movement is time, that's your excuse for it, then we've got to start looking and changing things. And when I say a good level of movement, I'm not asking you to go to the gym 2 hours every single day. I'm not asking you to run a marathon every single day. I'm talking anyone on this live now that can do 10,000 steps a day on average, so 70,000 over the week, Monday to Sunday, and can do a couple of bits of exercise a week, you will have an extremely healthy calorie allowance for your current size, right? And you can't then whinge about needing more because you'll be at a good place. Like the person that came on yesterday saying they're eating 1,700 calories a day. They told me their current weight. They told me their current height, right? They told me their current movement. And they're eating 1,700 calories a day and they should be eating 2,000, right? But what they've told me, the amount of weight they've lost over that period of time, they're actually probably eating 2,200. And that is really frustrating. When you think you're eating 1,700 a day and you're actually eating 2,200, I think it makes it worse, because you're not getting, you think you're eating really low in calories and you're not. But they did come on and say, sometimes I have maintenance periods. So they did say they weren't consistent with sticking to it. Consistency is key. Does having more fiber make you feel fuller for longer? 100%, Mia. 100%. Protein, fiber, volume. Why does more protein and more fiber make you feel fuller for longer? It slows down the digestion of food. So let's break it down. Food that digests the quickest is fat. Fats digest quick. A lot of people come online and say fat is satiating, it fills you up. It doesn't, right? There's no scientific evidence to show us that. Fat might be satiating in the moment because it's not that palatable unless it's combined with carbs and protein. So if you eat something that's not that palatable, can it increase satisfaction quicker in the moment? Of course it can. You see all these carnivore dieters that eat steak and eggs, right? I love steak and eggs. On their own, though, it's crap. It's not palatable at all. I don't care who you are. You are lying to yourself. If you think eating 4 fried eggs and a piece of steak lights your life up, right, you are lying to yourself, because I love steak and I love eggs. Now, You take 4 eggs, you take a piece of steak, and you whack 300 grams of air fried chips on that plate, that then makes it palatable, right? Fat and protein on its own isn't that palatable. It really, really isn't. Who loves cheese? I love cheese, and I can eat cheese. I can get a block of cheese and be like a great big massive mouse and have a bite of cheese. And while I'm eating it, I'm like, that's all right. I couldn't sit there, and some of you might argue with me, but you're kidding yourselves if you are. I'm telling you now, I'm not trying to tar everyone with the same brush, but just eating a block of cheese on its own, when you first eat cheese, it's salty, it's tasty, it's lovely, right? But eating a block of cheese on its own, you'll get very bored of it very, very quickly. It's very rich, it's a bit, and you'll stop. Now stick a block of cheese on a plate with a pack of Jacob's cream crackers and a bit of butter on the side, and I'll demolish that block of cheese quite happily. Fats and proteins are tasty with carbohydrates. On their own, they're not that palatable. And when we eat things that aren't that palatable, that fills us up quicker, right? You will get, if you take 2,000 calories of pizza and 2,000 calories of steak and eggs, right? They're both quite fatty. The volume isn't going to be massively different, if I'm being honest with you, right? You'll demolish that 2,000 calories of pizza. The steak and eggs, you'll get bored of it halfway through and you'll go, I've had enough of that, right? The problem is we don't eat a lot of foods where we're like, I've had enough of that. And you shouldn't really need to. You should eat foods that are palatable, that taste good. And this is, again, part of like, that taste good, that are part of, eating foods that are palatable, that taste good, is part of sticking to a diet, sustainability of a diet, adherence to a diet, as we would say. Anyway, I know I'm going off on loads of different tangents, but not like you know. Protein and fiber fills us up. It fills us up. So if you were to eat, let's say you were to eat a bowl of pasta, nothing in it, absolutely nothing in it. Or let's say you're going to eat a bowl of pasta and tomato sauce, the old Slimming World free food thing, right? Eat as much pasta as you want and as much passata as you want. So you have 100 grams of pasta, 350 calories, right? And you have, I don't know, a couple of tablespoons of passata with a bit of salt in it to try and add some sort of flavour to it. Right? Who's done that on Slimming World? Pasta and passata. And you can flavour your passata with your garlic and your something else just to try and make it, but, it's free food and I can eat as much of it as I want. Anyway, if you ate that pasta, 100 grams of pasta with passata in it, you'd be hungry an hour later. In the moment, you'd be full, right? 100 grams of pasta is a pretty decent portion, especially with 100 grams of pasta, 200 grams, add 150 grams of passata with it. It's not bad. You'd probably be quite full. An hour later, you'd be hungry. Why? Because pasta, especially white pasta, digests quickly, right? It's gone in your system. It's through your stomach, into your small intestine, and on its way within an hour. Yeah? Now, if you took that same dish, pasta and your passata, and you had 100 grams of tender stem broccoli on the side, or 150 grams, and you had a chicken breast with it, that pasta dish would then keep you full for 300 hours. It wouldn't. For 2 to 3 hours, probably. A good 3.5 hours, right? Why? Because you're adding protein, you're adding fiber, and you're adding volume. So yeah, protein, fiber, volume, tick, 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 will fill you up. So if you're currently, eating lunches that are, or food, if you're hungry all day, every day, there's a few things that we can look at. Number one is your calorie allowance, right? Well, Mia that's asked that question, she's come on plan with me. I know her calories are right because I've worked them out for her. So we can rule that out of the equation. So if you're hungry all day, every day, it's then down to how you're structuring your diet. Now, again, part of structuring calories, right? Not going long periods of time without eating. I know you get these people that do all these crazy fasts, but again, it's proven that, hunger hormones can rally up every 2 to 3, 4 hours anyway, so if you're eating every 3 to 4 hours, which tends to be what I do, I tend to hold off in the morning, right? If I'm hungry in the morning, I'll eat. If I'm not hungry, I won't. This morning, I'm not eating, right? I don't really feel hungry, but I'm really busy this morning. So I won't, even if I was hungry now, I'm going to finish this live at 9:30, have an energy drink. Caffeine's a natural appetite suppressant. I'm going to go to the gym and train. Then I need to go and shop. It's going to be gone 11 before I get home. And I just won't have even thought about food. And then I'll eat. I'll have an early dinner when I get home, which is going to be steak, rice, and broccoli because I've got some steak in the fridge that needs eating. I'm going to have some rice, I'm going to have some broccoli with it. Protein, fibre, volume's not going to be too bad because I've got a couple of steaks that I need eating. And calories are going to be quite high, probably 750 because I'm not having any breakfast, so I can make a higher calorie lunch. And then I have got a couple of bits and pieces, protein bits and pieces from Lidl to review for worth of calories, which I will then be having at around about probably 2:00, right? So 2.5 hours after my lunch or brunch, it might be called. I will be having, what will I be having? Some protein bits and pieces. That'll then fill me up till tea. And tea, we're having a roast chicken bacon salad for tea. So that's it. But there, I will be eating today every 3 to 4 hours once I've eaten once. And then so I'm structuring my calories correctly to keep my hunger hormones under control. And then the meals I'm eating, steak, rice, and broccoli. Probably going to do it some sort of Chinese sort of thing, but that's volume, protein, fiber. My afternoon snacks are going to be some protein shakes and a couple of other protein bits and pieces, which are going to be protein and volume. My tea tonight is a chicken salad, protein, fiber, volume, great big bowl of salad. And there you go. So I'm ticking the boxes all day to keep my hunger under control. Yeah. So there's lots of little things that we can look at, you know. Successful weight loss isn't just about eating less calories. Yeah, it isn't just about eating less calories. You know, you have to eat less calories to lose fat, but to adhere to your diet, you have to enjoy the foods that you love. To adhere to your diet, you have to eat in a way that isn't a chore. So what I mean by that is, it's, you know, if you're hungry day in day out, you're going to give up. You're going to give up. Facebook, YouTube's going mental this morning. Let me go through some of those and see what's going on. Fibre is slept on a lot, I think. It is, and even more so now. I see so many people that are like, you don't need fibre, you don't need fibre. Right? I saw Eddie Abu the other day doing a thing saying, everyone says you need fibre to go to the toilet. It does help, but you don't need fibre to go to the toilet. Your body will adjust to that, and if you're eating a lot of fatty foods, digested, undigested, will slip through your intestine. What you do need fibre for is health. You know, anyone that sits there and says you don't need fibre, we have cancerous cells in our intestines, right? We do, right? And I'm not saying that to panic. Everyone does, right? We have cancerous cells in our intestines. And what fibre does is fiber's like a snowball, you know, like a snowball that rolls down a hill and it gathers up. As fibre goes through your small intestine into your large intestine, it picks up lots of bad bacteria. It picks up lots of naughty things that shouldn't be. That, you know, your guts are disgusting. Not mine, Neil. No, everyone's. Right. I'm telling you now. Yeah, I used to go out beating and shooting and little bits and pieces as a kid. We're in the country. Used to get a brace of pheasant. I used to hang them. I used to pluck them. I used to gut them. When you gut a pheasant, now don't get me wrong, you know, and you gut a pheasant straight away. You gut it when it's fresh, right? You leave it to hang them, and you pluck it when it's hung for a bit because it's easier to get the feathers out. You don't try and pluck a fresh bird; you'll just ruin the skin. But you gut them straight away because you don't want the guts to rot and it'll take the flesh. You cut open a pheasant, right, or a duck, right, or I've done a few of those in my time. They flipping reek. We're the same. Your guts are disgusting, right? It's where a lot of waste products go through, digested food goes through. You know that when you go to the toilet, it doesn't exactly smell nice, does it? right? And what fiber does, it picks up all that, it moves it all along, it keeps it going. So just for and this is when they say, a high fiber diet reduces the risk of things like colon cancer and bowel cancer. It does, because it picks up all this cack that sits in our system and shifts it out. So it's so irresponsible for people just to, if you want to do the carnivore diet and not eat fiber, fine, do it. But don't promote a diet that can be seriously detrimental. Some people say, well, you show processed food. I don't tell people to eat processed, ultra processed food 6-7 days a week for every single meal, right? Yeah, I post some convenience foods every now and then, because at the end of the day, people are better doing that than going to Alibaba's on the way home and getting a 1,500 calorie kebab. They are better off going and getting a ready meal. If they are struggling to control the calories and they want to have a curry with the family, but they are better off going and getting chicken tikka masala from Iceland than having a bit of rice and an arm bread, and you actually feel it, and it's a decent curry. So it's about balance. But I also eat a lot of fruit, a lot of veg, which I show that no one picks up on. I make a lot of meals from scratch. Yesterday I put a thing on for banana bread. Banana, oats, milk, egg, right? The only thing that anything ultra processed in that, you might class whey protein, but I don't. Is whey protein processed? Yeah. Ultra processed? No. Some dark chocolate chips on top. Processed. Yeah, it's chocolate. It's been through a process. That meal is my banana bread baked oats I bought yesterday, you could say is ultra processed, because the amount I've blended oats, I've blended eggs, I've mixed this in, I've mixed that in, I've baked it. Is the banana, oats, everything, milk, and it's all been muched together and not roasted, but baked in an oven, But it's all whole foods that's in there. In my eyes, it is, right? But but people don't see that. They get fixated on it. But to actually go, you don't need fiber. Never eat it ever again. But that same Burke has told people that they can fix diabetes, that type 1 diabetes, through diet. He said he's got a mate that's followed his carnivore diet and now his insulin's working properly, and he was a type 1 diabetic. Oh, shut up. Right? Just absolute stop talking. Absolute gibberish. Anyway, let me scan down through, because Facebook and YouTube have gone bonkers this morning. I think this is why Liam struggles, because he can't recognise the feeling of satiety that isn't food coma levels of fullness. Yeah, and again, is that possibly poorly down to his condition? Is it just kind of, I was always made to believe as a kid, you should feel full after you're eating. It was always words around us. Like, my dad would always eat a massive portion of food, right? And I'd always hear him say, "Oh, I'm nice and full now." Oh, I'm not. How many times have you said that in front of your kids, everyone? Oh, I'm nice and full. I'm not, without explaining what it is. But we've always been in this thing where, but this, and it does, and it just escalates back from old time, from times where we didn't snack as much. And for the rights or wrongs of it, we do snack now more because we've got more access to those sort of snacks. But that's just 2025, and we have to adapt our eating to what's going on at the time. Because the way we ate in the 60s will have been totally different to the way we ate in 1890s, right? But in 1890s, in the 1960s, no one said we should eat the way we did in the 1890s, because there weren't obesity issues. That's where a lot of people ring about it nowadays, is also with being overweight. And there wasn't, so people didn't see what people in the 1960s didn't know how people really ate in the 1890s in a way overall, because we didn't see it. Now we've got social media. Everyone's seeing what people do on a day-to-day basis, and everyone's a lot more critical. So it is part of it. It is, it is that element. And that's the thing for me. I was always led to believe, and there was always seconds, and there was just like, are you full? No. Well, there's more if you want it. Well, I don't know if I do actually want it. Oh, go on, have a bit more if you enjoyed it. Right, go on then. And we've been brought up a lot of the time to eat for the sake of eating, and we chase that feeling. We chase that feeling of feeling full. And it is all about words. I was walking the other day, and there was two mums. I was walking Betty and Blossom, and I was walking through the park in the village, and there were two mums with the kids playing, and neither of them had a weight issue, but they were talking like, and the kids were probably 6, 7, 8, something like that. And they were talking about, oh yeah, fruit. Oh God, you can't get kids to eat fruit nowadays, can you? Yeah, well, I have to disguise it in the food. Your kids can hear you. They're there. They're not stupid. The brain's an absolute sponge. They're taking on board what you're saying. Oh, my mum hides fruit. Why is she hiding fruit in my food? Is it a bad thing to eat? This is what, and I'm just like, stop talking like that in front of your children. And I know they were just talking about what they were having for tea and how they do the kids that. But I don't think we understand the repercussions of just general chit chat around food in front of children that are hearing it. And children aren't logical, right? Or they're not as logical, or they're probably too logical in a way, if that makes sense. They don't have the realization or the common sense, like, and I'm like, why are you in a situation where your 4 or 5-year-old children, you're having to hide fruit in their food? Their eating habits are at the early stages. They've only been eating solid foods for a couple of years. How have they got an eating disorder already around fruit? Why they've got it is because of the way you're eating and talking around food, and the way, how do I get my kids to eat fruit? Give them fruit as a baby. Give him this as a baby. Get him used to eating it. Grapes, my mate Johnny, he's always on Instagram with these kids, and from eating solid foods, his daughter's been sat there with grapes and strawberries and veggies and this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, that kid's gonna have such a great relationship with food as well. And some of the things she's eating at like 18 months old, because that's the way they eat. That's the way they like to eat. They love the fruits, they love the veggies, and it's just a natural part of the process. We eat fruits and veggies. You eat fruits and veggies. I said this about going on holiday with my mate Chris. Remember the first time I went on holiday with him? And I was like, we went to the snack bar, and I'm there, and I'm like, yeah, I got a couple of burgers. But I didn't get a bun because I didn't want to be over full. And the main reason why I didn't get a bun, because I was having a few beers. And if I eat bread and have a few beers, I just end up really bloated. But by the by, I just got a couple of burgers, got some salad, got a bit of cheese on top, and this, that, and the other. And Chris literally just got a burger in a bun with cheese and a load of chips, right? And ate it. And I was like, he's on holiday. Next day, he did the same. Yeah. And after a couple of days, because I've been out for food with him before and just never clocked it really. I was like, Chris, I've not seen you eat a piece of lettuce. I don't eat veg. What? So I don't eat salad, veg, fruit. Never have. I was like, what? He said, I'll eat potatoes. Okay. And I think he said something like maybe carrots or something like that. I can't remember. But he was like, no, I don't eat anything else. I was like, seriously? He was like, yeah. He said, we were just never brought up with it. My mum and dad are the same. I was like, right, so you got your eating patterns from your mum. I was like, and isn't it the fact you don't like it? He said, I've never tried half of it. I just don't want it. I just don't need it. I just don't like it. I was like, how do you know you don't like something if you've never tried it? I just know. Right, fair enough. You're a 40-year-old male. I'm not going to try and change your mind now, unless you want help. If you want to change, I'll try. But, and it was just like, wow. So it just like hearing it firsthand, and I'm just walking with the dogs, and I'm just hearing, and I'm walking, I'm not listening, I'm not like stood next to him going like that. I'm just walking past the park, and I just got a glimpse of the conversation. I'm like, they can hear that. If you're talking like that all the time around different foods, like fruits and veggies, no wonder you can't get fruit and veg in your kids, because they're just going to take it on board. Oh, why they hide? Why does it need hiding? Is it bad? Is it this, that, and the other? Do you know what I mean? Anyway, there you go. That's my little rant done for the day. What would your advice be for someone like myself who suffers from joint problems, etc., and really bad fatigue? Also, I've got around 11 stone I want to lose. What would you say is a realistic timescale would be? Okay, Gemma. Hopefully you're still on. I know you asked that question a bit ago. Or you might be watching this back. So, we tend to have fatigue. Now, don't get me wrong, again, there are some medical conditions that can increase fatigue in the body. You might be suffering from something like fibromyalgia. You might be going through the menopause and this, that, and the other. But generally, fatigue is brought on by the way we live our lifestyle, right? Because I've had clients that have come on board with me with fibro, and they come on, I can't get my steps in, I can't do this, I can't do that because of my fibro. And I'm like, right, that'll improve. But you've got to push past it. Right now, I fully understand some days it's a lot worse than others, and days where it really takes hold, you don't need to push past it. But days where you sat there going, I probably could, but I'm not going to bother. No, do it. Right? Let's get at it. And again, massive trend. Work with loads of clients with fibro. It's quite a common condition. And, common trend. They put the effort in. They improve their overall diet. They move more on a day-to-day basis. And things just improve. I always say this, energy builds energy. I talked about it earlier on in the week, and I always use the analogy of a wind turbine. If you missed it, a wind turbine doing this makes no electricity. Wind turbine doing that makes loads of electricity. I did 40,000 steps yesterday. I did 15 minutes on the cross trainer, and I did 45 minutes of weights in the gym, and I did a load of gardening for 3 hours. I was tired at the end of it, but my energy levels were great. My energy levels now are great, right? I move a lot on a day-to-day basis. Moving a lot on a day-to-day basis generates energy because it increases fitness levels. It makes tasks easier. When I was 37 stone, just going to Tesco wiped me out for the day. Just going and doing a basic daily task of nipping to a supermarket was my day's activity. Is that the way our lives should be lived? Absolutely not. And it shocked me. It shocked me because normally, and I'd never thought about it before. And when I went and did my first weight loss shop, as it were, my first healthy shop, it was a big shop. I went into a supermarket. I used to adapt going to a supermarket. For me, I used to go 2-3 times a week, similar to what I do now. We go into Aldi, and I used to make like a bit of variety and this, that, and the other. The actual reason was I couldn't stand up for more than 10-15 minutes without needing a break. So I could only do so long in the supermarket. But my first weight loss shop, I pushed through, got a big list, I'm going to go and get it. And it took me about an hour. And I got back to the car and I was absolutely exhausted. I had to sit in the car. I couldn't drive home straight away. I had to sit in the car and and it was February. It wasn't hot. It wasn't, I was knackered, right? And it just shouldn't happen. So now, again, with joint problems, what we need to do with joint problems is we need to find movement that is beneficial to those joint problems rather than a negative to them, as it were. So I'm riddled with arthritis, right? I've got it in my knees, I've got it in my hips, I've got it in my right ankle. And it affects, I saw a guy yesterday. My arthritis has been flaring up a little bit, quite humid, moisture and heat isn't great. And I saw a guy, not seen him for ages actually, and I was walking in through the car park at the gym, and he was walking up and said, "Oh, you're bloody limping." I was like, "I limp every day, Dave." I said, "I've got one leg slightly longer than the other, and I'm riddled with arthritis." I said, "It's just that some days it's more exaggerated than others, depending on." And he was like, "All right, yeah." He said, "I know you got," because I know him quite well. He was like, "All right, I didn't realize." I said, "I thought you just injured yourself." I said, "No, it's just my arthritis has flared up a little bit." What do I do movement-wise? I walk. It's low impact. It doesn't put any stress through the joints. Now, when I was 37 stone and I started my weight loss journey, I couldn't walk the way I walk now, right? But just over time, through pushing myself, my body adapted and I could walk more and more and more. In terms of going to the gym, I sit on an exercise bike, 0 impact. I go on a cross trainer, 0 impact. Anything exercise you do where you keep your feet planted to the floor is 0 impact. So cross trainer, I do that. It's exerting, it's tiring, right? But my feet never leave the floor, which means it puts no impact through my joints, right? When I pedal on a bike, my feet never leave the pedals. They're just like that, right? Because they're strapped in, yeah? It's exerting, right? It's knackering, but there's no pressure going through my joints, yeah? So you've got to find exercises that don't make your joints worse. The more you move, the more you exercise, the better your joints will get. My joints got better and better and better. Right, my mobility got better and better. I'm still knackered, but I can do quite a lot of movement now. Am I always in pain? Constant. I will stand up from this desk now after this live, and it will take me 30 seconds to move. Right? Or if I do move straight away, I'll be hobbling like a very old person. Right? Because by sitting down and bending the knee, it restricts blood flow to the knee, right? A little bit. And my joints just seize up when I don't move that much, and it's flipping agony. But after 30 seconds, blood flow improves, stretch the joint out a little bit, and off I pop. I'm all right. I have good days, I have bad days. So, Gemma, I'm sorry you're struggling with fatigue. I'm sorry you're struggling with joint problems, but we just need to find a way that we can get you moving more. Improving your diet will help both those things. Get you moving more in a healthy, sustainable fashion. Slowly catch your monkey and just ease up to improve those conditions, and they will get better. In terms of 11 stone, I do not know what you currently weigh. I'm going to surmise you're early 20 stones because a lot of people's goal weight is 10 stone. I would say you can lose 11 stone in 2 years if you put the effort. Right? I would say this time, August 2027, if you're currently 22 stone, you could be 11 stone. You can lose half your body weight. Right? Now you might be like, no, I'm a bit more than that. Yeah. That might sound overwhelming thinking 2 years ahead. It isn't. Because if you were were you overweight 2 years ago? Did you have the same issues? How quick's that time gone? Think back to 2023. I'm sat here now thinking back to 2023. I'm like, it popped up on my timeline. I went on a stag do, Bank Holiday August 2023, which is next weekend. Not this one coming, weekend after. And I'm like, I was talking to my mate about it because he's organising another trip with the same lads, and he messaged me the other day, and I was like, funny enough, it's popped up on my timeline like I was getting ready for it a week to countdown on my Facebook or something like that. I was like, just seems like yesterday. What seems like yesterday could mean you're 11 stone lighter today. Yeah, that time frame. It's not, a year isn't long. A year isn't long. It really isn't. We're nearly, like Christmas. Like, I can still remember Christmas. I can still remember sitting here now, January, talking after Christmas. And it's August. And literally, a couple of months' time, that door will be shut in my office. I'll have a hoodie on, right? And in 3 months' time, I'll have bloody Wham in, walking around supermarkets playing it, ringing in my ears. It's time. We think a year is a long time. It isn't. And what you also need to understand is if you've got 11 stone to lose, your life will be dramatically changed every stone that you lose. You could if you're sat there now and you've got 11 stone to lose, come on plan with me. Right? It's 15 quid to sign up for 2 more weeks. That's it. Right? 2 weeks today. Well, 2 weeks yesterday, to be honest with you, the deal's gone. Right? So it's 15 quid to sign up. Then it's $29.99 a month. One at the end of August, one at the end of September, one at the end of October. Right? And I'll run you, if you sign up now, you'll pay one at the end of August, one at the end of thingy, one at the end of November. I'll even do your check-in in December. We'll get you up to Christmas. Anyone that joins my plan now, you can be stone and a half lighter by Christmas. Right? That would take £20 away from you now. Right? Even if you've got 11 stone to lose, it will change. You'll be in a smaller top. You'll feel more confident going to your Christmas party, right? And I'll teach you how to go and enjoy Christmas. And then by Easter next year, you could be 3-4 stone down, right? At 11 stone. Certainly 3 stone down by Easter next year, right? And to lose 3 stone, 40 odd pounds, is life-changing again. I was 37 stone. When I went from 37 stone to 34, 33 stone, it changed my life. When I went from 30, and it wasn't just the weight loss, it was the way I was approaching it, the way things were changing in my everyday life. So we do get quite overwhelmed thinking, but that's because we just focus on the end journey. I'm only successful on my weight loss journey when I go from 22 stone to 11 stone. Nah. Every stone you lose will change your life. If your end goal is 11 stone, you'll be absolutely buzzing when you get to 14. You might not quite be there. And if your end goal is 11 stone, but I could say, right, click your fingers and I'll make you fit 14 stone now, you snap my hand off. Right? So stop focusing on the end goal. You might be like, no, it's not overwhelming. I'm happy to lose it in 2 years. And that's what you should be doing. If you lose it any sooner, bonus. Lose it any sooner, bonus. Healthy, sustainable weight loss is 4 stone a year. But if you're willing to put the effort in and you've got quite a lot to lose, you can lose a bit more than that. I lost 10 stone in my first year. Right? I've just started my weight loss journey and I'm a little worried about my Cornwall holiday next week. Don't. Holidays are part of life. Do you gain weight on holiday? Yes. Right? Look, a weight loss journey isn't about something we do for a couple of weeks, right? It's about what we're going to do for the next 12 months, 18 months. And one thing we have to accept in the next 12, 18 months, we're going to have Christmas, you're going to have a birthday, you're going to have a holiday. So you've got to build these things into, but we've never taught how to. Some will doesn't teach you how to take a holiday in. You've just got Barbara at the front going, yeah, sin your pina coladas. I've got 12 sins a day, Babs. Pina colada's 18, love. What do you want me to do? Just sip half of it and send the rest back each day? Not happening, Chuck. I'm having 5 pina coladas a day, and you can put your sins where the sun don't shine, right? We're not taught how to do weight loss in life. Now, Tina, if you were on plan with me, you would. This is exactly what I tell you, right? This is exactly what I tell my clients. Go and enjoy your holiday. It's a holiday, right? Holidays are about making memories with friends, family, your kids, right? We have a priority. Weight loss is your priority. But every now and then, you've got to shuffle the pack. When you go to Cornwall, your priority is your holiday. Weight loss will be waiting for you when you get back. Now, if you say, well, I go on holiday every other week, yeah, how often do you go on holiday? Twice a year, 3 times a year, right? You're not fat because you got Cornwall once a year or because you go to Tenerife once a year. Weight loss is about what we do most of the time, not about what we do some of the time. So go and enjoy your holiday. Will you gain weight on holiday? Yep. Will all that weight gain be fat? Nope. Will some of it be body fat? Yep. Will it soon be gone if you get back to things when you get back? Yep. That's it. That's all you need to accept. You know, I went to Benidorm 9 days in June. Absolutely loved it. Overate, overdrank. Came back 8 pounds heavier. 4 weeks later, gone. And now I'm another 5 or 6 pounds on, lighter than that. You know, all the holiday does is put a little pause button on the journey. You've got to be prepared to put little pause buttons on the journey. Otherwise, you're just going to be miserable. You can't choose life or weight loss. You've got to learn how to integrate both of them together. I'll teach that. Come on, plan. Be good. Right, let me scan up, see what we are missing. Did carnival for 6 weeks and it generally put me off steak and eggs for a while. Not nice at all. It's horrible. It is absolutely horrible. And you see all these people promoting it. They all look miserable. None of them look happy. Never seen anyone smile or have a good time. You know, there's a few like Eddie Abu, just looks miserable all the time. Just looks like he hates life. Now, don't go wrong. Eddie Abu's lying to you, right? He eats carbohydrates. He eats pizza. He eats cookies. He does all that, right? Same with everyone that's promoting these diets day in, day out. And you might stand there and go, no, he doesn't, Neil. He's a character, right? There is a difference between real life and social media. And some people are characters on social media. He's a character. How do we know Eddie Abu eats carbohydrates? He's not strict carnivore. He's 62 years of age. Look at the muscle mass he has, right? If he ate one meal a day that's 1,200 calories, which is what his meals are, I've worked them out, right, with his eggs and his feta and his steak, right, he would lose ridiculous amounts of weight. He would lose ridiculous amounts of muscle mass. To hold the muscle he holds, especially at 62, you have to eat an anabolic diet. And an anabolic diet has to contain carbohydrates. So he eats them, right? Now, when people think of carbohydrates, people think of bread and pastry. I'm not saying he eats bread and pastry. He might just eat broccoli. He might just eat berries. He might just eat, some brown rice. But he eats carbohydrates, right? He also takes performance-enhancing drugs. So a lot of people see Eddie Abu and go, he just eats steaks and eggs and looks like that. I see loads of people, well, I know who I'd rather take my advice from, someone that looks like that or someone that looks like this. And I'm like, yeah, but he doesn't eat the way he eats, because if you knew anything, but that's not his target market. His target market isn't people that understand nutrition and understand training and understand physique, because everyone can see through him. His target market is vulnerable people that's easier to trick, right? And that's why he's got 4 million viewers, followers. But he still looks miserable, right? But I've seen clips of him where he's out and about, where he's just been caught on camera. There was one, I actually stitched one where he was out and he was with a load of kids and they all had a Wingstop. And he was like, oh, what's in the bag? I eat chicken nuggets. And they're like, I know we shouldn't eat it. And he literally said, and this is what I stitched about, he went, it's all right, as long as you're not eating it all the time. That's what he said to him. But that was him getting filmed by someone else, right? That was him out and about in an environment where he's not where he's not being Eddie Abu, the character. He's being Eddie, and he was smiling and chatting with these lads and telling these lads, as long as you're not eating that all the time, once a week, it's fine. Oh, what? A bit of moderation, right? But that's because someone else had filmed it and put it on social media, and I just caught it, you know. Just talking about food all morning not make you hungry. No, might have done it. Like, you know, I literally go and get breakfast after these sessions. It doesn't, because like I said, look, you know, I'm 11 years into my journey, and I've taught myself self-control around eating, right? I've taught myself self-control around eating, and I love food. I am a foodie, but I also have a bad relationship with it because I still picture 37 stone Neil, and I understand what food did to me from overeating it. So I do have that balance. But overall, you know, an addiction doesn't matter. You know, when we're addicted to something, we know what it does to us and we know it's wrong, but we still do it anyway. I've just conquered my addiction, right? And it doesn't mean it doesn't rear its ugly head a little bit every now and then, but I'm in control. You will get there. You know, an alcoholic will be able to go to a pub. This is when an alcoholic knows they've conquered things. They'll be able to go to a pub. I've got a couple of mates that are ex-alcoholics that are sober. They've been sober a couple of years. They still come to the pub, right? They still have a Heineken Zero, which you'd think, you know, a lot of people are like having stevia because it's a sugar substitute will trigger sugary cravings. You know, my mates that, you know, I've got a couple that are sober. They have been for a couple of years. They'll come to the pub and they'll have a bottle of Heineken Zero, which does have a fake taste of beer and has the taste of a Bud Light, which does have alcohol in it. To me, a Heineken Zero and a Bud Light, if you taste them both side by side, they're both much of a muchness, right? But does have that taste of beer to cause them to relapse? No, because they're in control of their addiction. So they can be around alcohol, they can be around other people drinking alcohol, they can have things that imitate alcohol that doesn't have alcohol in them, right? But they don't go back to drinking alcohol. And that's because they're in control of their addiction. You will get there, but it does take time, right? It does take time. It took me, I would say, I can't timestamp this because it's a little bit, you know, I might have said 18 months previously. If I'm going to be totally honest with you, probably 3 years. I'm still working on it now. There's still little bits that I think is not, but overall, you know, I'm kind of like I would say I'm 90% there. I'd say I'm 90% there. There's still little bits, and I don't know if it'll ever get any better than what it is now. Maybe I'm at my peak, and that's as good as it is. But you will get there. You will. Do you think it's better to miss breakfast then? No. You should eat. It's not better. It all depends. Like in terms of, you know, it's one of them with eating. If you're hungry, eat. If you're not hungry, don't eat. So now, when you first eat, it does kick your digestive system off, right? And it does pick up enzymes and it does kick hormones in. So, you know, we should never eat unnecessarily, right? We shouldn't be trying to label, is it better to miss this? Is it better to eat that? Is it better to do this? You should eat a bit intuitively. So if I'm going to train in the gym now and I like training fasted, there's no benefit to training fasted. I just have more energy if there's no food in my system. Why? Because when we eat something, our body has to give energy to digestion. I want 100% of my energy to go to training in the gym. I'm not starving. I'm not exactly like struggling for energy. I've got plenty stored in my body, right? And I'm going to have an energy drink as well, which I don't need for energy. It's a bit of a placebo, but if it gives me feel like it gives me a bit of a boost and it makes me train a bit harder, I'll take it. You know, so it's just one of them. Rachel rarely eats breakfast. She rarely eats breakfast. And Rachel does that because she likes to have more calories in the day. And she always said, you know, I tend to eat breakfast because I feel like I should eat it rather than I need it. So it's different. Now, you know, if I'm hungry, if I was hungry now, I would eat something, right, I would go and eat something, even though I'm going training. I'm not going to starve myself, but I'd eat something that would support my training. So I might have a banana and maybe, I don't know, some fast digesting carb or something. I don't know. Sometimes it could just be a bag of cookies if I need something in my system, but I don't. So it's not about, is it best to miss breakfast? If you aren't hungry, don't eat it. If you are hungry, eat it, right? Now, one thing I always recommend is not going long periods of time without eating, because that can trigger overeating. You might start going, well, I didn't eat till 7. Last thing I ate was 8 o'clock last night. The last thing I ate last night was about 7:30. Yeah, probably about 7:30. I had a cornetto right, at 7:30 last night. And the next time I'm going to eat this morning is going to be 11:30. So I won't have eaten for 16 hours, right? And you might be like, well, that's a long period of time. It's slightly different. When we shouldn't go long periods of time without eating is after the first time we eat. Like I say, the first time we eat, that kicks in our digestive tract. It kicks in different enzymes for breaking down food. It can kick in our hunger hormones. After that, like I say, today I'll eat every 3 hours. So I'll eat at 11:30. I'll probably eat at 2.5 hours after. I might even eat at 5 before I come and do the live. So I've got a couple of protein products. So I might have one at 2 and one at 5, right? And then I'll have my tea probably about 6:30. So I'm going to eat kind of little and often, 2 main meals and then a couple of little bits in between, right? And I'll also, because I'm not having breakfast, I'll have the calories. I'll probably eat at about 9 o'clock. I'll probably have a protein bar and some fruit in bed tonight, right? So that'll probably be my eating for today. If you're eating breakfast because you think it's the most important meal of the day and you eat it at 8 a.m., even though you're not hungry, then you're going to be starving again at 10 o'clock, unless you eat the right things. But you'll still be, if you eat at 8, I'd be hungry again at 11, even if I had my big yogurt bowl, you know? So it's just about finding what works for you sometimes. Does that make sense? Right, let me scan up. I know it's really, really busy. I'm jealous of the options you can find in UK supermarkets. Yeah, Gavin's come on planning. He's in Belgium. So it is, I do notice that. Like when we go to like Spain and you go, now don't get me wrong, it's rare I go into a big supermarket in Spain. But when we went a few weeks ago, when we went in June, a couple of months ago, they built a brand new Lidl near our apartment, and we went into Lidl. Ace, really, really good. A lot of similar products to what we have here, but also a lot of newer, like a lot of products we don't have here. And I was just like, I said to Rachel, if we lived here, I'd shop here all the time because a lot more simple, if that makes sense. A lot less temptation, maybe. Right? Maybe something like that. But maybe that's, we only went in a couple of times and you're in holiday mode, aren't you? And very cheap beer, which is good and bad all the same way. I always struggle with fibre. I'm averaging 21 grams. RDA fibre is 30 grams a day. Fruits and veggies are your best friend. Fruits and veggies are your best friend, but you can get, certain foods that are just loads of fibre. Baked beans, unreal baked beans, and it is about averages. So, if you had one day a couple of pieces of high fibre bread, like rye bread or some sourdough bread that's got a good amount of fibre, like wholemeal sourdough with a full tin of beans on, you're going to have 25 grams of fibre in one meal. A few more fruits and veggies. You might have one day, if one day you've got 40 grams of fibre and then the next day you've got 20 grams, you're averaging 30. 21 isn't terrible though, Kevin. There are a lot of people in this country that have less than 10 grams of fibre a day. A lot. My brother has a highly restricted diet and always has done, even though he grew up together with the same parenting. Yeah, it's just the way people take on, I'm part of Team RH, so I'm keeping my food in check. That's good, Gemma. That's good. Why are you asking me? Go and ask Team RH. I'm only joking. You can ask me all you want to. He actually came on Team RH and gave me a really nice compliment yesterday. Which made me feel sometimes I've not been the most polite about his product, about his thing. It's not that I'm not the most polite about it. I generally don't agree with his with his delivery of certain things. And maybe that's just because I'm an ex-fat person and it triggers me a little bit. But I also understand it is his gimmick, right? We do have to understand that. It is his gimmick and it is his sales pitch. And if it works for him, it works for him. And if it works for his clients, it works for his clients, And I've always said that. But I'm not. And if he ever spoke to me directly, I would say, yeah, I'm just not a fan of your thing. And I know if we talked and it wasn't, again, like I said about Eddie Abu, right? Eddie Abu, it's a character. And I do feel that that's quite similar with Richie. I don't get me wrong. I don't mean his principles are a character. He believes that, yes, you should move loads. You should do this. You should do that. You should do the other. People do make excuses. I believe that at times. But I try and put it across in a different way to the way he puts it across. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think, and no weight loss coach will ever say this, or fat loss coach, and it's all about, all his content's about fat loss, even though he's more personal training, because he gives you workouts and stuff like that. At the end of the day, his target market isn't overweight people. Gemma, you're not his target market. He won't say that. He'll say, no, I work with everyone. So his target market is someone that is 13 stone that wants to be 10, right? That thinks they're fat, but they're not. So when he calls him a fathead, he's not actually being that, like, what's the word? Triggering in a way, right? Because everyone's is that, people use it in a colloquial term, don't they? You'll see someone that isn't fat and they're eating a big burger. Oh, you fat sod. It's like a colloquial term. But for people that have been morbidly obese, it's a lot more triggering. And again, I used to follow James Smith all the time. I liked his approach to weight loss. I didn't like the way he put it across. I thought it was very aggressive. But his target market was 18 to 25-year-olds that liked his swearing and liked his straightforwardness. So, you've always got a USP. My target market, I've worked with clients that are 10 stone. I've worked with clients that are 50 stone, right? But my target market are people that have more severe weight issues. That is my target market. That's my speciality, right? So, and we've always got to have those, Gemma, my goal weight is 15, 16 stone. Gemma, why are you very tall? Why is, and I'm not saying, 15, 16 stone is very achievable, I would have thought. Well, if you're 11 stone, you're 27. So, I'm intrigued that you are eating a lot lower than your calorie allowance. What are the reasons behind this? Are you trying to increase your weight loss at the moment, or will you be eating them at the weekend? What, me, Paula? So, I don't eat a lot. What do you mean by that? You know why I eat lower than, like, we bank calories during the week and then we eat more at the weekend. So I don't know if you're referring to, like I said, I had 1,1800 calories. My calories fluctuate on a day-to-day basis. Sometimes I don't eat for the sake of eating. Sunday, I ate 4,100 calories because I had so many calories on Sunday. A lot of that's still in my system. I don't need it on Monday. So Mondays are always a lower day. I always recommend that we bank during the week 10 to 15% of our calories. So my calorie allowance is 2,600 calories a day. So for me to bank 10 to 15% of my calories, that would mean an average of about 2,200 a day. I can actually bank a little bit more than 10 to 15% of my daily calories on average because I burn a lot of calories. So I tend to bank about 20% on average. So, like, yeah, I might have eaten 1,800 Monday. I think I had 2,000 yesterday. I think I had 2,200. Today I might have 2,300. Now, this week as well, I'm also being more mindful with calories because I'm out at the weekend and I'm probably going to eat 10,000 calories over the weekend. Now, I'm not going to fit that into my ideal deficit, so I'm going to go over it. That's fine. But I can kind of bank a little bit extra during the week. But I wouldn't say I'm eating a lot lower than my calorie allowance. I'll probably end up averaging this week about 2,100 a day, which is banking about 20%, just about 18% of my daily allowance. That's an average. And again, we always look at averages. We always look at averages. So, no, I'm not eating a lot lower. I am eating a bit. I always eat a bit lower because we bank and then we take those into the weekend. So, I'm probably going to eat 10,000 calories over the weekend. I'm going to try and bank 2,500, which is normally my weekly target during the week. Then I've got 2,600 a day. So that's 7,700 calories. So I'm going to go over my ideal deficit probably by about 2,500 calories this week. Do I put myself in a bigger deficit than most people? Yeah. But again, I burn a lot of calories, so I can do. I'm still eating 18,000 calories a week, you know? So yeah. Taking you on a dog walk. Well, I've got to go. I've got to go. It's 11:15. I've got to be back here in an hour and 45 minutes because I use my mum's car, and it takes me 10 minutes to get in a Mini. It doesn't. People see me driving a Mini and they're just like 6'5", 18 stone. I look like Mr. Invincible driving it. But yeah, since Rachel's gone back to work, we've ummed and ahed about getting 2 cars again. We don't really need one. If I ever need our car, I can take Rachel, because I've got the flexibility. I can take Rachel to work and pick her up afterwards. But my mum has a Mini, and literally it's 11 years old this year. It's done like 20,000 miles. She bought it brand new. It's always been serviced. It's a great car. I absolutely love it. So yeah. So, but anyway, she needs a car at 11:15. She needs a car at 11:15, 11:45. So I've got 2 hours. I'm going to get to the gym. So it's 15 minutes to the gym, 15 minutes back. I'm going to train for an hour, and I need to nip into Aldi. So I should do it. I'll do it in 2 hours. It's all good. It's all good. Anyway. But anyway, Gemma, good luck with it was Gemma that asked about. Good luck with your weight loss journey. And if you need any help, if you don't find things are working out for your Team R8, to get on plan with me. It's 15 quid to sign up, $29.99 a month. Someone asked me once, why is my coaching more expensive than Team R8? Because you get me. You don't get an app where you message a random coach that might take 2 days to get back to you. You don't get anything. And again, Team R8, fair play to them. They've got hundreds, they're a multi-million-pound company. They're a massive company. And fair play to Richie, to be honest with you. Again, I'm not a massive fan of his delivery of his content and the way he talks, references certain things. But he does like a ridiculous, for someone that runs, he's a multi-million-pound company, the amount of time he spends being at the face of it. But I think he is the face of it, so I suppose you've got to. But you just get little old me. They've got 100,000 members. I've got, in terms of community members, about 400. In terms of one-to-one, I've got 100 and odd, right? So it's a lot more personal working with me, and therefore you pay a little bit more. That's it. It's not a generic thing. It's a bit like the difference between why is McDonald's £7 a meal and you go to a Michelin star restaurant and it's £100 for a meal, because you get a bit more of a personal touch, and you're going to pay a bit more for that. But if you want to get on plan, come get on plan. He's got a good business head on him, so fair play. His business head's amazing. Yeah, that's one thing I will give him kudos for. I'm surprised he's not got a second business teaching people about social media and stuff like that, because he knows how to trigger, he knows how to get the algorithms going, he knows how to build a social media presence, and he's been at it for years. And and I'd love to have an app like his one day. I generally would, but I'd also do the personal coaching as well, because I love it. I like the one-to-one interaction. But to have an app like he's got, it's a couple of £1 million investment. I ain't got 2 million quid to invest in an app. So you've just got little old me with my Google Sheets, with the way I do with the way I do things. So anyway, there we go. Right, I've got to go. Guys, it's been a pleasure as always. If you do want to get on plan with me, if you would like my help, you want to be coached to having a successful weight loss journey, it's what I do. And I'm very proud of what I do, and I'm very proud of the results that my clients get. So TikTok profile, Facebook page, YouTube page, click on my link tree. It's half price to sign up at the moment. 15 quid to sign up. It's then $29.99 a month for a minimum 3 months. Then you can cancel whenever you want. You're not tied into anything. If you don't want a monthly direct debit going out, I've also got a great deal on my yearly sign up. One-off payment, 260 quid, 12 months one-to-one weight loss coaching. You'll get 25 check-ins. We check in every 2 weeks. We don't do check-ins over Christmas. You've got me on WhatsApp whenever you need me. Just WhatsApp me any questions, anything you need. You know, I'm pretty thorough, so hopefully you won't need me loads. It's just get your head down and get stuck into it, but I'm always there for you. You also get access to my community when you sign up to plan. So we do lives, not just the social media lives we do here. Do everything weight loss sessions, we do weight loss coaching lives. I'm also thinking of introducing maybe another live a week. I don't know. I want to talk to you guys about it. Like, I know I do the weight loss coaching lives a week, twice a week, and I've cut it down to one a week. I don't know whether to keep that as one a week, and then the Thursday we do the everything weight loss Zoom session, and then on the Thursday maybe do like rather than you guys chatting, doing like a Q&A on a Thursday. I don't know if it'd be busy enough, like we just in the community. So doing like a weight loss coaching live where it's just me on screen, so other people aren't coming in and nattering, because that's the everything weight loss session. But doing like a specific Q&A where, you know, I'll try and trigger some questions if people are quiet, but then over the week, right? Because like I know I always do a Q&A at the end of the weight loss, and I know the everything weight loss session is a little bit of a Q&A as well, but actually doing a specific weight loss Q&A where I know a lot of people get nervous about coming on a video and chatting and talking. So it's basically like, right, over the course of the week, any questions, specific questions you might have about anything, you know, any questions you might have about anything, just ask me. You can ask me then, and I'll directly answer them for you. And like Council said, I think that would be good. I think you could always bring in questions from social media if slow from us. Yeah, so I get asked all the time, like people there, you know, is breakfast the most important meal of the day? Does that? So I could write a list of questions down and answer it. And I know people might be like, well, that's other people that are asking them. Yeah, but if it answers it for someone else, it will definitely be give you guys knowledge, but it will be just for people in the community. It will just be for people in the community. So I'm kind of thinking, do I go back to doing one weight loss coaching live a week and mix it up, or, you know, doing a 5 o'clock Thursday live with it that's just a weight loss Q&A? I don't know. I might like do a Zoom that's just some like business brainstorming with you guys of weight, because I'm always trying to improve things and move things on. Anyway, I've got to go. I've got to be back in like an hour and 55 minutes now. You're looking leaner, fella. Thanks very much. Yes, we're still on the journey. No idea where I'm at. I have been working on changing my body composition this year as well as weight loss. Training's better, more cardio, burning out some a bit more. You can lose visceral fat and fat in the body. Fat loss is fat loss through calorie deficit, but there are some studies that show that certain types of training can lean you out a little bit. I never try and over confuse that, and it is a bit skeptical, but yeah, I've changed a lot of things this year with what I've been doing. So thank you very much. It's always nice when people notice different bits and pieces, but ultimately I am nearly 3 stone down as well. Check in tomorrow for me, so I'll let you know. And I've lost. That might be a bit big-headed to say I've lost. I have no idea, but I have lost. You know in your body. You know. I'm not saying that every time. Sometimes I've felt like this and I've got on the scales and I've maintained, but I'm quietly confident I've lost. I'll let you know. Right, I'm out of here. Guys, I'm going to try and be back about 5-ish. I'll try and be back about 5-ish. TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. TikTok, Sam to you first. Have a great Thursday. I will be back around 5-ish. It might be a bit earlier. It might be slightly later. And we'll just do half an hour, 45 minutes. But I will be back. Have a great Thursday. Facebook and YouTube, exactly the same. I'll be back later on. If you want to get on plan with me, come get on plan with me. Right? TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. The links. Just click on my link tree. Sign up. 15 quid off price sign up at the moment. So £15 sign up, $29.99 a month, or just a one-off payment, $260 all in, and you've got me for a full 12 months guiding you on your weight loss journey. Have a great Thursday.